Men without chests introduced the idea that there is an objective good, that the Green Book's statement that personal feelings are worthless is flawed. The Tao is introduced as the sum of all truths in the world, proving the Green Book false. Righteousness is objective, and the Green Book is wrong in assuming that personal opinions are worthless. The Way focused more on debunking the debunkers, stating that any attempts to disprove the Tao ended up proving themselves wrong. For without the Tao, there can be no real truth, and no overall elementary truth off of which to base the argument against the Tao. The Abolition of Man first looks at the idea of man versus nature, using the idea of airplanes and wireless service to demonstrate the fact that men only have power over that which others give them. People do not personally have the power to fly or transmit information. They are given that privilege by other men. As Lewis states, what we call man's power over nature turns out to be a power exercised by some men over other men, with nature as its instrument. People of the present generation have power over all future generations, as Lewis delineates through contraceptives as the means of one generation to simply prevent the existence of the next. He states that every past generation has rebelled against their predecessors, and eventually there will be a kind of master generation which will have power over all previous and future generations. Lewis describes this with the statement, "Each generation exercises power over its successors, and in each, insofar as it modifies the environment bequeathed to it and rebels against tradition, resists and limits the power of its predecessors." Due to the resilience of man, the last thing to be truly conquered by men is likely to be the human nature itself. Despite the fact that men give their power to other men to exercise over them, the innate strength within human nature is much greater than any other part of nature. Each new advance over nature leaves man stronger as well as weaker, leading to the eventual dominion of the majority of men under just a few. Lewis says it quite succinctly, "The battle will indeed be won, but who, precisely, will have won it?" We essentially refer to all we have conquered as nature, as the reduction of things to mere nature allows them to be conquered with much more ease. Unfortunately, man may become mere nature as well as time goes on, but not nature to be controlled by himself. Rather, natural man is to be under control of mere appetite, that is, mere nature, in the person of the dehumanized conditioners. It is difficult for one to accept such a future, although Lewis states that if man exists as a species for long enough, it is inevitable. The Abolition of Man also focuses on different aspects of our humanity and of how our human nature is controlled by what he calls conditioners. They are the motivators who may pick and choose what they want represented in the human condition, effectively making their own Tao in other people who they condition. They may preserve the original Tao among themselves, so they may be viewed as some sort of keepers of the real truth. In the end, Lewis states that it is no use trying to see through first principles. If you see through everything, then everything is transparent. By trying to look past the Tao in their search for revelation, people are actually looking through all that there is to see. Although people's curiosity will always lead them to explore ever deeper regions of philosophy, the Tao is the end-all be-all as far as truth goes. Trying to look through the everything represented by the Tao leaves an empty field of view, as to see through all things is the same as not to see. Looking deeper than necessary will distract from what is truly essential, our own human natures and the objective goodness they bring.